listen, I like Minecraft, okay? Minecraft on the Nintendo Switch is one of the most popular games on the platform, and well, ever. But by now, most of us know that the Nintendo Switch version had some major problems. You probably know that because one of my many videos that I've made about this version of the game on the Nintendo Switch. Or maybe you've played it yourself and you've never seen my face before, and in which case, welcome to the channel. Maybe you should subscribe. Also, your hair looks nice today. Good on ya. Now, I didn't just want to make another video about Minecraft on the Nintendo Switch and just how bad it was. We've done that. Instead, I want to talk about what it could be on the new console, the Nintendo Switch 2. That's right, it'll most likely come to this. This thing is coming in hot and a lot of us are excited. I recently did a video speculating how Fortnite might perform on the new system, and since that did really well, I figured Minecraft deserved the same treatment. But before we talk about how it could be, we need to understand just how broken it is right now on the Nintendo Switch 1. Let's start with the mode that everyone knows, survival. I know it, pick me, I know. First off, the Nintendo Switch runs this game at 1080p, 60 frames per second, which alone is actually impressive. You'll see time and time again that third-party developers will just cut a game down to 30 frames per second to stop the Switch from catching fire. But Minecraft, it actually tries to hit 60. That being said, while it does target 60, most of the time it doesn't hit it. And what we get instead is this constant micro stutter throughout gameplay that you just can't ignore. It even happens during basic tasks like mining or slapping trees. Like this, but with a tree. Just with everything going on in this game, the Switch has a hard time keeping up. Like even when mobs load in, there's a noticeable hitch. And what's crazy is that this doesn't just happen late game. Even early on, when it's the most bare it'll ever be, these issues still show up. And this is when a game should be running its best, not mediocre. I think another huge issue is exploration. If you love to explore, sucks for you. Because on the Switch, very often the terrain simply chooses not to load in. It just doesn't feel like it. So it doesn't. This is actually a pretty common problem with open world games on the Switch in general, because the internal storage isn't fast enough to stream in new parts of the map quickly. That's why you sometimes get those moments where you can see straight through the ground into tunnels and caves that are generated below you. That's right, thanks to the Switch's lack of power, you unlock unintentional X-ray vision into the floor. And it's not like you have to be sprinting or flying around for this to happen either. Sometimes you're just leisurely walking and the ground still can't keep up. On top of that, the render distance is really short, capped around 12 chunks. And it makes this massive world feel a lot smaller than it should. Most of these issues are just constant on the original Switch, and they only get worse as the game goes on. Now, I've mentioned this in a couple of my Minecraft videos, but I created a city so large and populated that my Switch literally breaks when I go into it. My village has hundreds and hundreds of live villagers. My farm animals are living out their best lives playing Breed Simulator. And the mob spawners are doing everything they can do to make sure my game becomes unplayable. At that point, even opening a menu or inventory screen causes the game to pause and load before anything shows up. Even the sound effects are several seconds delayed. Like I'll punch a cow like this, and it'll move 5 seconds later. All of this happens because the Switch just isn't optimized for Minecraft. There are no actual performance limits. The game lets you build whatever you want and spawn in as many entities as you want, and it just hopes your system can handle it. But it can't, it just doesn't. So I hope I've set the stage for you. That's how bad the Nintendo Switch version is, just in survival. But now let's talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 and how it could fix this. Most likely the Switch 2 edition of this game will run at a higher resolution and frame rate. I'm hoping they can squeeze this puppy out at 4K, and with the Switch 2 power supposedly being roughly on par with the Xbox Series S, that's actually possible, especially thanks to the built-in upscaling tech. But I don't think that's all. No, we don't need to stop at 60 frames per second. I'm predicting it 120 frames per second on Minecraft on the Nintendo Switch 2. Because yes, the Nintendo Switch 2 can now support that, even in handheld mode, which is insane when you think about it. We've already seen current gen consoles run Minecraft at 120 frames per second flawlessly, so the Switch 2 should absolutely be able to do it as well. Also, it's Minecraft. This thing ran on my iPod Touch over 10 years ago. But that's just the resolution and frame rate. We're not stopping there. Obviously, with the Switch 2's enhanced hardware, a lot of the issues that plagued the original Switch version of the Minecraft should finally be fixed. Like the terrain loading, for example. That's right, terrain will most likely be able to load in before you walk on it. What? Who could have seen this coming? Thanks to the Switch 2's faster SSD storage, map and chunk loading should be blazing fast. You don't have to worry about seeing a void because the ground didn't feel like showing up in time. You can actually run through a forest without accidentally unlocking X-ray powers and hitting unsuspected trees. But most importantly, the system should be able to handle a high mob count without breaking a sweat. I actually tested out my ridiculous mega village on the PS5 version of Minecraft just to see how it would handle it, and it ran perfectly. Now, I know the Switch 2 might not be as powerful as the PS5, but it'll be close enough to that hopefully Minecraft doesn't collapse the second you walk around in a crowded area. Now, what about creative mode? On the Switch 1, most of the same problems from survival are here. The micro stutters are still here, the weird chunk loading in is still here, and it's actually a bit more noticeable in creative mode because you can even fly around freely and see the broken chunks from above. I don't have a ton to say about creative mode other than the fact that it's just as easy to break the game here as it is in survival. Now, the Switch 1 can actually surprisingly handle the TNT test pretty well, but the Switch 2 will be able to handle it better. But aside from obvious power, resolution, and frame rate boost the Switch 2 brings, there's something way more interesting and genuinely game-changing: mouse mode. That's right, the Switch 2's big gimmick is that you can use the Joy-Con sideways like a mouse, and I genuinely think that could make Minecraft feel superior on consoles for the first time ever. Let's be real, most of the Minecraft community plays on PC. That's how it is. I'm not gonna bust out my Switch at a Minecraft party because everyone would just laugh at me. But yes, the PC is the best version of the game. The whole crafting and inventory system was built around mouse and keyboard controls. And yes, I know technically you can plug in a mouse and keyboard into the console, but nobody does that, let's be honest. Finally bringing true mouse input to Minecraft on a portable console, that's wild. Because precision is everything in Minecraft, from combat to block placement to sorting your inventory, and trying to be precise on the tiny Joy-Con sticks is, well, just frustrating. Just being able to lock in exactly where you want to place a block would make building faster and smoother. Menus and crafting would also benefit massively. Personally, I don't hate how crafting was implemented for controllers, but there's gotta be an easier way, and mouse mode could actually be it. Even something as basic as drag and drop inventory sorting would be so much faster with a real cursor instead of that sluggish, janky when you move around with the stick. This is a no-brainer. But even if the Switch 2 runs Minecraft beautifully and brings all these new features to the table, there's still one big concern that could be holding it back over time, and that all has to do with optimization. Because that's what really doomed the Switch 1 version of this game. Yes, the hardware was underpowered, but the lack of optimization made it way worse. Over time, Minecraft kept getting updates, and the Switch version just couldn't keep up. The devs would roll out one of these massive features and just kind of hope for the best. They didn't really scale anything down or adjust the performance to match the Switch. They just hit published and crossed their fingers. I remember specifically when the Caves and Cliffs update came out, that's when terrain loading issues really started showing up, and that's mainly because the world generation was expanded vertically, letting players build and dig way deeper than before. That made the Switch version work even harder to load in the same amount of terrain, but with no meaningful optimization done to help. And over time, as they kept adding updates and updates, the Switch version just kept getting slower and slower. So yes, the Switch 2 version will absolutely be able to run Minecraft out of the gate much better. That's not even a question. It's going to brute force its way through a lot of the old performance issues, but over time, after a few more major updates and added systems, we could end up right back where we started if the game isn't properly optimized for the platform. The Switch 2 might actually make the game function, but it's only going to be as good as it is optimized. But the Switch 2 won't just help the basic survival and creative modes. It should also improve servers. Minecraft Bedrock Edition includes a bunch of public servers run by other people, and these things are actually pretty big. They're packed with all sorts of mini games like Bed Wars, PvP arenas, and even full-on survival modes with twists. I tried it out on Switch 1 and, well, they were actually fine, but with the occasional lag and clunky controls, they weren't exactly ideal, especially for anything competitive. So being able to play competitive Minecraft with better mouse controls would make a massive difference in how these modes actually feel to play. But another thing I really want to talk about is Minecraft Marketplace. That's right, the home of all the officially licensed DLC like Sonic the Hedgehog, Disney, SpongeBob, and yes, the Minecraft movie. Everyone say it with me! Chicken Jock! Yeah, so actual companies make official Minecraft maps for popular IPs, and I played a good handful of them. I'm not joking, I actually played the Minecraft map on the Switch 1. And as a game, it was actually not bad. But on Switch, it made me want to do this. It had issues. That's what I was trying to say. Let's start with the Minecraft movie map because it's a meme. This one includes several mini games. One is kind of like a zombies mode where you can set traps, fight off waves of enemies, and upgrade your gear. It's honestly pretty fun. What really got me though is that you can play as actual Jack Black. And they even gave him a custom running animation that's weirdly accurate to the movie. The zombies mode minigame ran decently, just with a few frame dips here and there, but nothing too game breaking. Then there's a stealth mission where you can sneak around the big mansion and try not to get caught. You can crouch to stay quiet, hide in objects, and the pacing was slower so the Switch didn't actually explode. Again, no major complaints there. But then came the Elytra minigame. And this was actually a disaster. You had to glide through these mountain ranges with an Elytra, and the Switch just couldn't handle it. Even flying at the slowest speed possible, the train wouldn't load in fast enough. You had to guess where to go next because the game just refused to show you the path. It was just completely unplayable. And this isn't the only official DLC map with these problems. The Sonic the Hedgehog map was also completely unplayable. Remember that one thing that Sonic is known for? going fast? Well, the Switch one isn't. I'd be zipping through levels as Sonic or Shadow, and the game just couldn't load the terrain fast enough. The whole thing just kind of fell apart. And keep in mind, I paid for this with Minecoins. That's Minecraft V-Bucks, by the way. Imagine dropping money on a Sonic map only to find out it literally doesn't work because the Switch is basically a microwave. Yeah, that happened to me! I want to break this! Also, look, I have a Minecraft controller. It looks pretty nice. But anyways, these maps. This is a huge way that the Switch 2 will actually shine. These maps are grand, and with more power behind them, the Switch 2 won't just make them playable, it'll make them better. You'll finally be able to explore these worlds without constantly worrying about terrain refusing to load or the game slowing to a crawl. The Switch 2 could turn these adventure maps from unplayable to playable, and that's good. I'm excited for that. Right now, Minecraft just feels like it's outgrowing the Nintendo Switch 1. Every new update adds more, and the Switch just can't keep up. The game's been expanding non-stop, but the hardware hasn't, and you can tell. Now let's be honest. Some players, especially the younger ones, might not even realize they're breaking the game. They're just doing what Minecraft encourages you to do. Build big, explore far, and go nuts with villagers and farm animals. But without proper caps or scaling, the Switch just folds under that pressure. So with the Switch 2, I'm glad that you can actually just go ham all the time with these maps. It's exciting. I want to do that. Now, for all the complaints I've thrown at Minecraft on Switch 1, I've still played it for over 150 hours, which might not be that much to you. In fact, it's not. From what I've seen in my comments, 150 hours is like nothing. But yeah, I have access to better versions on other consoles, but there's still something about the idea of Minecraft on Switch that just hits different. Being able to play the full game anywhere with real controls, it's a huge part of why this version was so appealing in the first place. It wasn't about the performance, it was about the portability. It had that Switch magic to it, where you could take this massive open-ended game with you on the go, and it still felt like Minecraft, even if it struggled to run like it. Now, to be fair, this exact same version runs on mobile too, and depending on your phone, it might even run better. In fact, I am almost confident that any phone can run better than the Switch. But the Switch had something mobile doesn't: physical controls, split-screen multiplayer, and that hybrid console experience. That's what kept me coming back, even when I knew I could get a smoother experience elsewhere. And that's why I'm actually really excited for the Switch 2 version, because now we finally have a chance to keep all the good stuff, the portability, the versatility, and the play anywhere freedom, but it also gets paired with that hardware, as well as the mouse mode. They've got to include the mouse mode, please. But hey, the Switch 2 and the Switch 2 version of Minecraft aren't even out yet, so only time will tell. All we can do right now is speculate how good this version is going to be, and just mentally prepare for whatever happens, because who knows. But you better believe I'll be reviewing this version of the game as soon as it drops, just to see how broken it really is. So hey, subscribe, or else I might just do this. Also, I like Fortnite. And hey, YouTube thinks you're gonna wanna watch one of these videos. Also, let's fill up this list of names. Consider becoming a channel member. We got tons of content over there. So please, join Melk. All right, I'll see you in the next one.